Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this dress. So first of all, I've gone ahead and traced the pattern, but I'll walk you guys through what I did here. So basically the first thing I did is just to mark at least about almost 1.5, a little over 1.5 inches here. So I ruled a straight line down. This is going to be for the bottom because you notice that it has a bottom, right? So I went, and then after that the next thing I did is to go ahead and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So as from now, all my measurement going towards the side will be starting after this straight line that I just made. So bear that in mind. So my shoulder divided by 2 is 8 because my shoulder is 16, divided by 2 is 8. After that, I came down 1 inch of shoulder slope, marked it 3 inches of my neck line, came down 1 inch of shoulder slope, connected that here. And then after that, the next thing I did was down here. So I came down here 3 inches by 3 inches, just your basic neckline. And then after that, the next thing I have here is your armhole. So from this point, after the 1 inch of shoulder slope, you're going to insert your armhole, which is basically your bust divided, round your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. That's what you're going to use to get this length. So once you get the length, you're going to rule a line at the end of that point. That's the length is from this point to this point. Rule a line at the end here, and then insert your bust divided by 4 plus 1. See, I marked my shoulder to waist, shoulder to hip. My waist divided by 4 plus 2 inches here, but my hip divided by 4 plus 1. The same, my bust divided by 4 is plus 1. The only reason I have plus 2 on the waist is because of my dart, which after that I marked nipple to nipple distance plus half an inch. That's how I got the center line of my dart. 1 inch before my bust line, and then it's stopped 2 inches before my hip line, then half an inch on both sides. So this is just like a basic bodice, but with extra room here. So once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and give it a curve by the neckline here. You're going to go ahead and mark it a straight line from this point, join it into your armhole. You understand? So from the edge of this line here, from the edge of this point here, where this part and then this part meets, this point here, you're going to rule a line that will connect it, because remember this is a halter neck, so you're going to connect a line going towards the armhole. So now you see we are starting to form our neckline. After that, there's one thing I would like you to do. I'm going to just use it to show you guys. So I'm going to come down here 1 inch. What your back neckline will normally look like, right? It's normally 1 inch. Come down here and then connect it. Remember, whenever we are making our bodies, we always do 1 inch for the back neckline, 3 inch for the front neckline. So what I want to do is, this is not necessary here, but I just wanted to use it to get the measurement I would need. I will just keep this measurement in mind. So what you're going to measure is from this point. Measure what you have on this line from here to here. So I'm going to measure it now. So that is going to be 3.5 for me. So let me write this 3.5 and have it in mind, because I will use it when I go to cut out the collar for the back, because you can see that the back is open. So when I go to cut what will be the back, I'm going to come back to this 3.5. So let me set that aside. So now let me go ahead and cut out everything. So guys, once you mark this, the next thing is going to be, so guys, the next thing I'm going to do is this neckline here. This is my front 3 inches of neckline. I'm going to cut it out. So cut that out, and then I'm going to set it aside like this. So guys, I'm just trying to show you guys what the neckline would look like, right? This part depends on you. You can fold it up a little bit more. You can fold it even further down. The more you fold it, the more cleavage is going to show. Trace this out on our fabric. With this pattern is what we're going to use to trace both the front and the back. When we go to trace the back, all I have to do is just to fold it away and trace out just everything like this, except this upper part after the armhole, and then this seam allowance here, this button allowance here. I'll just go ahead and fold this out. So this is going to be important for both the back and the front, but let's start with the front. So guys, you see what I did here? Because I'm using an Ankara fabric and you're cutting this almost like in a tilt form. So you see what I did? I didn't fold my, it's like you're cutting it in an A-line form is what I want to say. So I didn't fold my fabric into two, like making the two ends here to meet. I tilted it like sideways like this before placing my fabric so that it will have that A-line flare at the end. So now the next thing is to pin down this here, and then I'm going to be cutting out everything from the side like this all the way from the waist. But from the waist now to the hip, I'm going to widen it out to the end like this. So you see, I'm going to spread it out after the waist just so it can blend in like this. If I had a straight ruler, like a longer ruler, it would have been better. So now you see, so this is what I'm working with. So ruler that is long, all I have to do is just to put it for my waist like this, and make sure that it joins to this end here. You understand? Just any ruler that will connect it to wherever it blends into the line by the side. So that's basically. So now all I have to do is to go ahead, cut this neckline, cut here all the way, and cut everything out and split it open in the center. So guys, this is it here. So how you're going to get your length is from the tip of this shoulder. Now you're going to measure, put your tape straight and measure yours. So I'm using 60 inches for mine, but my dress might end at 58 points. So you're going to add in your seam allowance and everything. So what I'm going to do now is just to fold away this my 1.5 inch of seam allowance button placket, right? I'm going to fold it away. That way I can place back the fabric and cut the back. Because remember, the back is exactly the front, except cutting it halfway through, like from where the armhole is, and then also removing this seam allowance from here. You understand? This placket. So basically our back panel is just something that looks like this. You see, without the placket for the button, and then halfway through the back. This is what our back is. I could have used this fabric to do it, but I just remember that there's no way I would trace this thing exactly the way I have the fabric now. You understand? If I decide to use the paper to trace on the fabric, I may not get the exact angle, and then it will not be the same. So it's better to trace what I've used already, which is the fabric, and it's better I use the same fabric for the back too. That way I'm sure that, okay, all the sides are equal. You understand? So that's why I want to use the fabric. So guys, I've basically cut everything out. The only difference between this now is that my darts for the back is going to go all the way to the end. So it's going to go all the way to the tip of the cloth. So that's basically it. So guys, in case if you would want to add a pocket to it, you just have to come down from your armhole like 10 inches and then 6 inches in between the space, and then that will be the space for your pocket. Just in case, just come down from that point to 10 inches, and then from this point now you're going to give it 6 inches opening for the pocket. So guys, you see everything is coming together, you see, all the way down. So this is it at the moment. So let me show you what I've done so far. At the back, I picked my dart, and like I said, my dart is going to come up all the way to the top here. And you see, I first used the fabric. I got like a thin piece of fabric, almost like I'm trying to make a bias. Used it to flip this over. I didn't turn the fabric on itself. I joined this to it like I'm making a bias, and used it to turn it over. You can use like a bias strip too. So you see, and then by the sleeve, I used the bias strip itself for the sleeve side, and then for the armhole part here, I used this to turn it over, closed up the side, left room for my pocket. You see, 10 inches down, 6 inches opening, continued my stitch all the way down. The same on this side, used bias to finish up this side, came down 10 inches here, 6 inches opening, continued my seam all the way down. So now for the center, what I did here was I cut out fabric of about 5 inches, right? But coming to the side here all the way down, I narrowed it about 4 inches. If you want, you can still leave it as 5. So what I did was to join it on this edge all the way down. If I open it up now, you'll see. You see, I joined the fabric to it because this is going to form my placket. It's going to form like the fold or the neck that this top has, like almost like a blazer. So you see, once I close it back, I'm still going to use the glue thing to iron it down. But just once it turns over this way, like I said before, the more you're turning it, the more the V will be. So if you want it to stop somewhere here at the neck, it will look like this. The more you bring it down, the more exposed your chest area will be. So you see, it's continued all the way to the end. You see, just like that. This side I've already used the glue thing to close it up because I didn't want to make a seam on top. That's why I can't rip it open. But you see, this side I can still open it. So you join the seam all the way to the end, right? And that's basically how you do it here. So now I'll explain the collar. So once you get to this point, everything, you see there's a dart in front here, there's a dart also in front here. So once you get to this point now, you form the placket for your once you do this now, you form the placket for the button, right? So it will look something like this when it's open, like this. This is going to fall over like this, or either way around. This one over like this. This is our neckline. So now we need to form a collar that will cover all the way here and come back to this front. That is where that 3.5 inches that we wrote before comes in. So I got my fabric here. That is about, so on a fold is almost, I think, 4 inches or 3.5 inches on a fold. And then by the width, how you're going to calculate it is take the fabric, fold it into 2, right? Let's say you did 3.5, fold it into 2. The first measurement you're going to add in here is the 3.5. And when I said, you see, mine is 4 inches of width, almost 4 inches of width on a fold, right? The fold here is almost 4 inches. When I said 3.5, I mean the 3.5 we wrote out here for the back neckline, remember, and it's 2 sides for the back neckline. Then the next thing is going to now be the front neck. How you're going to calculate it is you're going to take the collar, the neckline in front here. You're going to skip about 1 inch in because the collar is not going to reach this top part. It's a notch collar, so it's not going to get to this point here. It's going to start somewhere in between. So you can skip about 1.5 or 1 inch in and then measure what you have left. So for me, if I measure mine is about 5 inches, right? So now I'm going to add 5 inches to this. And then I have about half an inch to close up the end of my collar. So in total, what I need is 3.5 plus 5 inches. That's going to be 8.5. And then plus my seam allowance to close up the end of my collar. So now this is going to be the center back of my collar. Let me go ahead and notch it. It's going to be at the center back. Right, my collar is going to fold like this. It's going to fold like this and come towards the front, right? It's going to fold like this. So this notch here is going to mark the center back. I'm going to go ahead and close up this using half an inch. So I'm going to make a seam all the way from this here, close this up, all the way from here also, close this up, right? Like this. Just make a seam down there. And then another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here by 0.75 and blend it towards the back. So blend it in towards the back, 0.75. You can do almost 1 inch, but I'm just doing 0.75. This will help the collar to relax better. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And then I'm going to go ahead now and start to join. So the first thing here is to flip it to the wrong side. Flip it to the wrong side. Use half an inch to close here, turn it around again. Guys, after that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to take this here, open it up, right? I'm going to go to the sewing machine and close up to 1.5 like I said before, because I don't want my collar to start from 1.5. And then I'm going to insert this inside of this after 1.5. This is from my finger to this point is that 1.5 that I gave room for. So I'm going to close it up all the way to the end here and then close it. So I'm going to sandwich this the bottom part of this collar in between this neckline and then the facing. So I'm going to sew that now. You see, I've closed it up now. You see, it's between the facing of this collar and then between this. So now I'm going to turn it around in front of you guys so you see. You see, once I bring this out here, this is what it's going to look like on this side now. You see, I formed this side. So I'm going to go over to this other side of the dress and do the same thing. So basically, you're going to turn it around again, tilt it. You see, we are sandwiching this in between the facing, which is this, and then the neck of the collar. So tilt it over again. Take this here, make sure it's straight, right? Put it in here, skip about 1.5 or 1 inch, whatever you decided to skip here, and then put this in between the two of them like this and sew close all the way. And make sure that as you're sewing it, this collar is going to be in between the two of them until wherever the two of them ends, right? Then you're left with just the collar itself, which will be 7 inches in total, 3.5 to the point and 3.5 to the other point. You understand? What you're supposed to have left when you're done is going to be 3.5 on this side. This is where my notch is, so 3.5 on this other side. Total is 7 inches. So for the back of my neckline. So let me go ahead and sew this other side. If this other side is done, you can go ahead and notch this just to reduce the tension, and then I'm going to turn it over again just so you guys will see. So you see, once it's done, tilt it over again. I think I turned mine the wrong way, but you guys get what I'm saying. Let me go back in and guys, as you can see, I've done it, and this is what it looks like at the moment. Like I said before, if you fold it down even more, you would have more of the neckline open, and if you remember with her own, the neck is even deep, like it goes below her bust line. So it depends on you how deep you want yours to be. So this is what I'm working with right now. And then the neck, so I've gone ahead and corrected that issue I had, is because I turned it over this way. But you have to make sure that as you're putting it into the other side, make sure that everything is turned correctly. So now I've corrected mine, and like I was saying before, that I was going to use that sticky thing to iron it. You see, I've ironed it down now and it doesn't open anymore. All I have to do now is just to fold away this excess here. So now when I open up the neck, that's why I said the width of the fabric you're using should be at least more than 5 inches, so that you can do 5 or you can do 5.5. Okay, mine is 5 on the dot because I used half an inch to sew this side here. So that the reason why I used almost 5 inches is that when the neckline opens, right, because if you use something that is like 4 inches, when it opens now, the edge might be somewhere here. That's why you can't use a small fabric. You need to use something wide enough to fold over, so that when your neck folds this way, this is inside here, not at somewhere at the edge. That's why I said 5 inches, so it can go that deep. So you see the seam here is folded, everything looks clean now. So like going back to the neckline now, you see what I still have here. I had the opening of my collar, because remember the part we put in between these two parts is the folded part, the opened part. But this here is the folded part of that collar, right? This is the folded end. This is the part that is open. So now what I did was to take bias tape. After I've joined this to this point, join this to this point, in between that space that is 7 inches, that's 3.5, 3.5, in between that 7 inches, I used bias to join it, like sewed bias to it. So now I'm going to take that bias and tuck it inward this way. So it's going to be inside of my neck, not outside. So I sewed the bias from the outside. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So this is it here, right? But the bias is on the outside like this. I sewed it on the outside so that when I go to turn this over now, it will come in this way. So I'm just going to turn it over inside of my neckline. So this is now going to be my neckline on the inside, because I figured if I sewed the bias like this, then that black will be outside. It won't look nice. So it's better that I bring everything inside of my neck. First of all, it's going to be, this part here is going to face towards my neck. the back of my neck like this. And then also the cape here, this collar part here is also going to be covering the back, so it will make it look neat. That's the reason why. So once you put it in the edge inside this side, put the other edge inside this side. The next thing is to, whatever you have left, use bias to join it on that side, turn it over to the inside, make a straight stitch like this going down. And that's, guys, all you have to do is just to go ahead, buttonhole. You can do 5 inches space in between depending on the size of your button. Put the button on one side, the buttonhole on the other side, all the way down. You can stop somewhere here so that you have some slit before the end of the dress. And that's basically it. If you want your dress even wider, go ahead and fold it. When you tilt it over, make it even wider. But you know, this is Akara, it can only go so far. So that's basically it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Please, guys, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll bring you more tutorials. And yeah, bye.